Already has, as there it is. Lissandra and Elise actually banned away as well, so ZZR are going to lose that champion at the same time. Rise and Trundle, two very standard bans, are going to come out from Snake towards EDG. Of course, EDG snapped up the Trundle straight away in their first match at the beginning, but it is going to be Nidalee now taken away from EDG as well, so we'll see whether the Kindred is going to be left up, because I have no doubt Clearlove will be grabbing that if it is. Azir still available as well. Bard is still another option.
But you don't necessarily have to ban Azir against Snake just because Tank looks so weak on it.
Maokai as well is another choice here. Flandre, of course, more than happy to play it, but Mouse probably wants to be on one of those super tanks, despite the fact that it was their only loss.
It is going to be the Caitlyn ban.
Oh
so, like I said, we saw 2 games of Caitlyn out of Deft, and like you said, Clearlove immediately snaps up that Kindred.
Straight away, but Snake grabbed themselves the priority AD carry in the Lucian. Karma actually given a lot of priority at the same time, so it looks like Snake have locked away their bottom lane. Tank, of course, could head towards Karma if he wants to. We did see it.
And this
skirting around the mid lane a little.
Pretty much means that for sure ZZR will be picking up that Rek'Sai jungle. Obviously, there's no need to take it in second rotation simply because you already see the Kindred there, so I like the priority on the Lucian. Obviously, we've seen a lot of flexibility in Lucian's build path, having that Korean Ghostblade, Black Cleaver build, or the longevity of the more Essence Reaver, Infinity Edge style of build, so giving Crystal a lot of flexibility there. And then Karma, I like her re-emergence in the meta simply because movement speed has been inherently nerfed with some of the removals of just alacrity and things like that, distortion, getting those summoner cooldowns up and online. So anyone that's going to augment your movement speed has been passively buffed.
Well, see exactly what is going to happen here as Snake try to round out that roster. Maokai and Braum were locked in on the side of EDG.
And what's curious here is EDG had the opportunity to lock in this Echo, which is now going into Flandre's hands. And we saw Mouse, again, play 3 different champions. He played Maokai, Trundle, and Fizz. And he showed, he played the same style on all of them, but showing that he was competent enough. And I'm curious if this is going to be a bigger flaw in EDG's draft phase. The fact that they don't trust Mouse to have a pick like Echo, or they're really dependent on Mouse playing a secondary support with champions like Maokai.
I'm seeing right now EDG hovering some interesting picks here. The Zed has been hovered there for a long time by Mako. Not sure whether it is going to be picked up as Deft cycling through a few options. The Jinx, of course, was a historical champion for Deft that he was very successful on.
It's these long arm compositions again, if these 2 picks get locked in.
Wanting to keep Snake at bay. A lot of wave clear available there as well. I love Ashe Braum. Bit of Freljord action there towards the bottom side of the map.
My only concern with a pick like Ashe is that you know that Echo and Rek'Sai are going to dive back onto you, and the strength of Ezreal is that he does damage while kiting backwards. If anyone lands on Ashe, all of her damage is completely negated because she can't... you can effectively orb walk and try to use your attack speed, but she's going to be running away, which means that nothing is coming out. Whereas Ezreal, as he's running away, he's got his Arcane Shift, he has his Mystic Shot. Callista, she's got her Martial Post, so she's actually doing damage as she backs up.
Ashe does have at least Frost Shot.
She's got some control in front of her.
Yeah.
But it's more so about her pick ability, but still, decently long-range AD carry, a lot of control in front of you with the likes of Maokai, with the likes of Victor, especially if that Rylai's, or when that Rylai's comes online. So it's about creating space for Deft and creating space for Clearlove to maximize their damage output.
Exactly right. Snake now looking to round out their roster. Azir is being hovered. We'll see whether Tank is going to have a better showing this time around. Have seen it only once from the player this season. Sorry, this split. Have seen it before this season, as they are going to lock it in. So, Tank looking for some redemption there in the mid lane. Scout looking very comfortable now on that Victor pickup. We saw, especially out of Aimee, some phenomenal Victor play yesterday.
No, completely agree. Tank's his issue with his issue with Azir is the misuse of the Emperor's Divide cooldown and how important it was to executing his compositions 5v5 correctly. He whiffed it a couple times also in the mid lane on just a 1v1 basis. So see if he can maybe clean that up. Obviously, back to the LPL, day 1. See if day 2 is a little bit better.
Exactly right. Looks like Scout not going for that teleport. Get that double teleport action from the mid and top lanes. And Mouse, once again, looking like he will be Maokai into Echo. This is exactly what happened in their first series against Newbie. And it can be a little bit rough, especially in the very early stages of the game, for Mouse to really get too much done in a 1v1 scenario. We'll look to see what ADG are going to do as far as lane swapping, see whether Snake are going to do the same thing. But at the moment, it looks like on paper, those lanes probably going to work out just fine if they just go standard on the side of Snake.
In a 2v2, though, against EDG, you have to be careful of the kill pressure there. Kindred, carry-oriented jungler, and a lot of CC in the likes of Maokai and Braum in these side lanes.
That's exactly right. Coaches are shaking hands, though. Let's get into game number 1 of day number 3. And thank you for the introduction there, Clear Love, as we are onto the rift for game number 1. EDG versus Snake. EDG will start off on our blue side. We'll see whether Snake are going to have a better performance this time around against arguably the top team in this group.
Hit back, hit hard.
Oh, they're going to have to.
Snake seem to be playing to the skill ceiling that Tank allows them to do. Before, he was across from the likes of Republic, this time around Scout. And Scout has had a very decent showing in EDG's first game, his first game in the LPL.
Yeah.
So a bit of an upgrade in terms of opponent. See if he can keep up.
Exactly right. We'll be looking a lot towards the top side of the map here for Snake as well. Flandre often draws a lot of attention.
And we can kind of quickly touch on Rek'Sai, because we've seen a lot of Rek'Sai over the course of the LCK as well as the LPL. And just kind of quickly touching, what brought Rek'Sai back into this meta. MSI was primarily dominated by the likes of Graves and Nidalee and Kindred. And suddenly we've got our breakdancing purple monster back in the LPL. It's this idea that Cinderhulk has just been inherently buffed. And now Rek'Sai gets to clear just as quickly as the likes of Kindred and Nidalee and Elise. But then she also gets to be tankier. So what they did is they changed the magic damage per second.
Of the burn,
Of the burn to, I believe it starts at 19 and then it scales up, and it can scale all the way up into your 40s. So you effectively doubled your magic damage on your creeps, which allows you to jungle that much more effectively. And so again, it's this idea of I get to farm just as quickly, so I'm not punished by the likes of Nidalee and Kindred, and I get to be tankier than them, which can open up kill slots in my support and top lane.
Yeah, meaning that they don't necessarily need to focus as much of a front line towards the rest of the composition. You can see Karma being picked up by Jay-Z as somewhat of an example. But it is standard lanes so far, so Snake comfortable in what they have. Steph and Mako struggling a little bit by the looks of things. Scout lands the Death Ray as Tank and himself go toe-to-toe. Potions are going to be drank. We'll see exactly how this one is going to work out. Of course, early stage of the game, Victor Azir just trading blows where they can.
And it really should go to Azir. Obviously, he is able to clear. We see a lot of trading in the bot lane.
Yeah.
He's able to clear a bit more effectively than Victor in the early game. Victor's really reliant on getting his Hex Core as well as the levels needed before he can clear just as easily. So keep an eye on that matchup as it heats up around level 5, level 6.
Speaking of matchups heating up, of course, the bottom lane continuing to trade. Jay-Z just being so aggressive with this Karma pickup. And of course, Crystal, no need to even really say it because he's constantly aggressive. Right now, head first into this creep wave.
Yeah, melee support versus range support, although we saw a lot of aggression from Mako yesterday on the Braum pickup and kind of winning lanes that you wouldn't normally see him win, especially against the likes of Bard. Not yesterday, excuse me, on Thursday.
Yeah. But right now, looking to be tested at the moment by Snake's bottom lane.
This is important, though. ZZR has control of the river, so picking up the Scuttle Crab, making use of Rek'Sai's speed again in the clear, and making sure that he has control of the bottom river, since his bot lane is the ones that are pressure forward.
Right now, you can see Scout actually taking a lot of damage here from Tank. Waiting for that Thunderlords to recharge there as well, but actually getting the better end of this deal. As Mouse going aggressive on Flandre here on the tree and not really liking his experience. Corrupting Potion just getting drank here by the Echo.
It would have been a slightly better trade. He tried to use his twisted advance there to escape the recall of Echo's Q, but he wasn't quite able to get on the back of Flandre, and he actually got tagged as it returned.
Z-Drive Resonance available from the Echo. What an excellent passive name. Almost as good as Heimerdinger's. The Scout continues to stick around. Not a lot of health.
This is what we've seen a lot, though. Rek'Sai's presence on the mid lane over the course of the LPL, particularly in the hands of Swift, although Cluelove, knowing that something's up, is going to go ahead and just give safety pressure, is what I'm going to call it, to Scout as he safely farms underneath his tower.
Yeah, the warning ping comes out. It sees the fact that his mark had just disappeared. So ZZR was towards the top side of the map, relatively obviously, as he's now just going to help clear out the way, give Scout a bit of a back. But Tank actually in a lot of control in this lane right now. Ahead by about a creep wave.
Again, to be expected as the Azir early on in the Victor matchup. We'll see how things adjust or change at all. Scout actually running the heal. This is also something interesting, as we've seen a lot of variation in summoner spells from Victors. Yeah. We've seen Ghost, which Ghost is a bit stronger on this patch, although theoretically the removal of Distortion and the adjustments to Ghost just put Ghost back in line to where it was with Distortion, and no one was running it anyway.
Yeah.
So it's kind of still a bit of a question mark on where Ghost really sits in terms of power scale for summoner spells. We've seen a lot of Exhaust, which my rationality for this is you're effectively exhausting the player, so they just kind of sit in your ultimate longer.
Yep, and it does a little bit more damage there as well.
I feel like you're still getting everything out of heal that you would necessarily out of Ghost. You got your movement speed, so helping Victor stay a little bit more mobile, a little bit safer in his lane, since she is a low mobility mage, as well as some defense against burst by having that health restored.
I like the Ghost just because he's also a little bit more damage over time focused.
Helps out with his rotations as well.
Yeah, keep him in range, make sure you get all of the ticks of everything.
We'll keep an eye on it and see how Ghost kind of evolves with Victor over time.
Yeah. Haven't seen all that much of it so far. You can see so far Scout trying to utilize a bit of extra safety in the heal for not only the heal but also the movement speed that you do get trying to escape from ZZR, because we've seen Victor's preyed upon a little bit. Because you've mentioned his lack of mobility. And it has been targeted.
I think it's because, you know, when a champion isn't around in the meta, people kind of forget how to play against it. Rek'Sai kind of disappeared for a little bit. She's got different lines, the likes of Kindred and Nidalee, in terms of ganking into lanes.
Yeah.
People weren't necessarily remembering or respecting her tunnel paths into mid lane in particular. Scout, again, really highlighting his punishment that he was able to dish out on Rek'Sai. But Scout, much more respectful. And everyone's playing this early game relatively safely. I think the idea is both these compositions scale decently well. There's no reason to throw away an early game on a ridiculous snowball, especially when EDG have the likes of Kindred. Yeah. So the thing about Kindred is that she snowballs incredibly well and she can get very far ahead, but otherwise her ramp on her power is actually quite late if it's just this natural progressive farming.
That being said, it actually improved a little bit with the pickup of the Blood Razor.
Yes, but here we go.
Oh, yeah, there's the Emperor's Divide. Scout has to use the flash, keeps the heal. But that is the big cooldown now not available for the mid laner.
Good news for Tank. He actually hit that one this time around. It was very clean, forced the flash out of Scout, so looking much better this time around for Snake.
See whether ZZR can keep the pressure up now that he has got that summoner spell. Free back going to come in from Tank. So I'm going to have things cleared. There's the flash forward from JZ. Deft is actually going to get snared up. The exhaust goes down. Heal comes in there. Deft still alive for now. First blood actually comes in for Deft. Of all people, as Mouse is going to flash into the Twisted Advance. 1 versus 3, though, as Mako well and truly out of this fight for now. Makes his way underneath the turret. It's a 1-for-1 trade. As Crystal, he's really, really low. The flash comes in, stand behind me, gets Mako to safety as well.
Fancy footwork from Mako to make sure that he's not another casualty there. And the issue with that fight is check out where Cluelove is. Top side of the map, ZZR was able to be there, so it was a numbers disadvantage in favor of Snake. Good job on Deft to trade 1-for-1 and to eke out the first blood for EDG's favor.
Yeah, really nicely done. Has gone back to base now as well, looking to pick up that Essence Reaver first. Crystal heading towards the Ghostblade build on his Lucian. But now with a little bit of extra AD, Deft may be having a better time here on the Ashe, just because you do inherently have a bit more control, considering that Frost shot. How are you feeling as far as like power spikes are concerned towards that bottom side of the map? I know you're a bit of an Ashe fan.
I'm a big Ashe fan, but her power... I mean, the thing is Ashe's ability to trade and to control creeps is actually quite significant, but the difference is it's Lucian Karma versus Braum Ashe. So you just have the advantageous of like the Karma poke and the minion control wave that she's going to do there with her empowered Mantra Q. So I think that's kind of the big disparity. If it's Lucian versus Ashe, obviously it gets into this very unique matchup of does the volley connect? The volley's massive. Of course it connects.
Yeah. Connects on everyone. You can dash as far as you want.
Or can Lucian get underneath, get on top of her, and really punish her for her lack of mobility with his double tap?
You can see right now, they're very, very close in farm.
Exactly like that.
Oh, there's the arrow comes in immediately. The Glacial Fissure comes down as well. Crystal is going to fall down eventually. It's a decent snare from Jay-Z, but not quite enough, as now they're stacking up the concussive blows. No flash to be followed here. It's a nice dodge of the Winter's Bite.
So
EDG get away with one.
The decision-making here that's so tough for the Lucian is when the Ashe connects on the volley and then follows it up immediately with the Q because you're slowed. It's an excellent trading tool, and obviously Lucian wants to be able to trade back, but in part of that trade, it's burning his Relentless Pursuit to make use of his double tap. He's fine. Everyone's fine. We're fine.
Deft. He got out?
Yes.
Oh, Preyseeker landed, though.
I saw your face. You're like, oh, is she going to cut off the point? Because I was like, no, it's fine. The back timer's coming in.
Yep.
But as soon as Crystal had used the Relentless Pursuit, it pretty much guarantees the fact that that enchanted Crystal arrow is about to connect with your face.
Yeah, and it certainly did as well. So, impressive stuff. At level 6 mark, dangerous on the side of EDG. As these wards are going to get cleared out. Mountain Drake, lots of health for this guy. He's going to be started up here, though, and having that objective control, a great thing, especially for a team like Snake, have been known to pride themselves on exactly that.
I still have this mentality and this priority that Mountain Drake, of course, will always be relevant simply because to win the game, you have to go through the towers, and this is going to directly impact that. But more so this idea that early game stats from Ocean Drake as well as Infernal Drake in terms of team fighting, I think in the early to mid part of the game is actually more beneficial. It's almost like I want the Mountain Drake as soon as I start to siege towers, and I want the other Drakes.
Another
otherwise.
arrow comes in. Deft just straight off cooldown, straight into Crystal's face. Mako's going to pick that one up. The flash forward from Clearlove. They want to get this kill onto Jay-Z as the Wolf Spike comes in. Clearlove says, you're not the only one that can get kills, Deft, and picks one up for himself.
And no surprises there. We said that EDG's bot lane are the true carries of this team right now. Ridiculous kill participation. Clearlove is constantly shadowing underneath them. And Deft holding true with this Ashe arrow. Crystal cannot use his Relentless Pursuit aggressively. He has to save it defensively for that arrow dodge.
Yeah, and knows that every time that arrow is off cooldown, it will be directed at his face. That is just how things are working out so far. Deathray able to clear out minion waves very nicely here for Scout as well. You can see holding onto his turret relatively nicely and only 5 CS behind. So despite the fact that he blew his flash relatively early, that's almost off cooldown. As Snake looking for a dive.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you have a dive being set up? No one's around to help him.
Yeah, not going to get snared up. Of course, Flandre was able to navigate this one quite nicely before, and Mouse just takes him down underneath the turret. Tank in there is going to be able to finish that one off. But it's a 1-for-1 trade. Maokai just so hard to dive.
Best case scenario there, and meanwhile, EDG on the rest of the map, they're getting good chip damage on the mid tower as well as the bottom tier tower surely will fall. So advantage for EDG unless Snake can at least answer back 1-for-1.
Well, you can see Clearlove, yeah, helping out here as well. Having an extra 80 carry on the map. Very, very nice. And it was only Deft towards the bottom side. Mako here as well, offering some support. And that means that the mid lane outer turret will be falling down here in favor of EDG. Clearlove actually getting aggressive onto Tank. Concussive blows has to be respected. There's Flandre trying to get his way in there. They're looking to try and take this one down and cancels the teleport. Snake losing out big in that trade. 2.5k gold, the lead for EDG at 13 minutes.
Good response from Mouse right there to TP to the neighboring creep to negate any TP advantage or response from Snake, which in turn means that that collective play, like you said, gives EDG the advantage of the single mid-tier tower. Why that's so important, though, it means that EDG can start now moving their ward line much more aggressively and deeper into Snake's jungle.
Yeah.
Next objective, top-tier Snake Tower.
Well, you can see Deft already moving up there. They've listened to you, Froskerin. There's Scout. He's going to be able to pick up his blue buff, 15% AP. We're going to be talking about the added value of all these major creeps quite a lot, because they are very, very important. Now Snake looking to try and take down this outer turret towards the bottom side, even things out for themselves in the global scheme of things.
Yeah, and EDG are actually just going to let this one go. Pings go down onto inner bot tower.
Yeah.
as well as Mouse was in the area, so he could have walked over maybe with some assistance from Scout to help defend that one, but EDG resigning themselves, let it go. We're controlling the top side of the map. We'll see where they rotate after top outer goes down.
Yeah, it's a huge creep wave there as well that Deft is dealing with, but 3 members strong here.
Someone
There's the
needs to
Ghostblade
respond.
proc. You can see Ventral Maelstrom is down. Mouse relatively tanky actually at this stage of the game. Not a lot of armor, but massive amounts of magic resist as he clears out the minion wave. He may actually have saved this turret.
Yeah, and here comes the support staff from Mako. Scout also kind of cut off from ZZR, trying to find a safe way through Fog of War. Gives up, walks back to mid lane.
Yeah, nice vision from Snake towards the bottom side of the map here. But not enough to get them that inner turret.
So EDG make the conscious decision to trade tower for tower. Manage to save their second one, but a lot of chip damage in Snake's favor. We'll see if they're able to punish that as this game goes on.
Yeah, Flandre grabbing that minion wave as it's dying to the turret towards the top side of the map. So that turret's still very, very healthy. But they're still down the mid lane outer turret, so lead in that department is available here for EDG. As Deft trying to run away from Flandre. He's got a red buff as well as Frost Shot. Might be able to kite, but of course the stickiness of Echo is a big deal. He also doesn't have a tower to go back to here. Flandre just dancing around. There's the arrow. Trying to kite here, but it's just really, really... uses the ultimate! Is it going to be up? No! Chaos Storm comes in. There's the flash forward. Scout grabs the kill. Deft, how are you alive? This is dumb.
That was so well micromanaged from Deft. So when the initial chase came in, Deft was sitting at 52 mana. He needs 100 to throw the enchanted crystal arrow. Barely gets it, but he holds onto his flash because he's baiting Flandre into the incoming creep wave, gets the arrow just as Flandre jumps on top of him to deny the damage, and then flashes away. So well orchestrated. The patience to wait for your mana regen on that type of play, absurd.
Just ridiculous. And the fact that he held onto the flash for so long at the same time. Maybe a little bit of a misplay there from Flandre as well, who used his ultimate to get out of the way.
No, I'm not going to give that one on Flandre.
Not even happening?
Like, your Echo, you see the Ashe there cut out. Yeah, she's got the red buff. Yeah, she's good at kiting, but you see that she doesn't have mana. That was so close. He barely got the mana to throw that off in time.
Yeah, it was definitely stunning. And of course, Flandre was forced into using the ultimate as well. He did die in the end, but thought that he would be able to potentially escape. Just left it a little bit too late. Couldn't make short enough work of this Ashe, who's 2-1-2 now. Really, really powerful stuff from Deft. And we mentioned the fact that this guy has a heck of a lot of kill participation for the team. He's been really stepping up this split.
Big CS discrepancy between him and Crystal, but more importantly, the itemization difference. Zeal online as well as Essence Reaver for Deft versus just the Ghostblade. No Black Cleaver coming in through for Crystal. Yeah. So for this initial Dragon, if EDG pull the trigger now, they are stronger. Snake would need to stall this out for that Black Cleaver before they could contest this, but otherwise, free Cloud Drake to EDG, which means, what, Mountain Cloud now going down?
Yep, Mountain in favor of Snake. EDG have picked up the Cloud Drake, so movement speed definitely a good thing to have, but arguably not exactly the best dragon to be taking.
But it's back-to-back Cloud Dragons, so if EDG secure that one again, that will be effectively tier 2 boots worth of movement speed.
Very, very true. And actually, the compounding effect of movement speed is actually a big deal. You're exactly right. I mean, at the moment, it's just free Alacrity enchantment, theoretically, but out of combat, of course.
That means a lot on the likes of Ashe.
Yeah.
Especially because she has her Swifties itemized, so if they're able to secure all 3 Cloud Drakes, you effectively get mobilities out of combat and Swifties in combat.
What is it, 105 extra movement speed or something like that?
It caps you at 105 if you have all 3 Cloud Drakes, and mobilities are 115.
Yeah. So that's a lot of in-combat movement speed as well, considering those swiftness boots. But we'll see exactly what EDG do with it as well. Given the extra flexibility for movement around the map, they do certainly have options. As Scout just continuing to shove waves through. He's got a needlessly large rod as well as that Negatron cloak. You can see actually just wanting to have a little bit of defense there with the double Doran's ring and the Negatron. Now going towards what looks like a Rylai's Crystal Scepter. We'll see how early he builds the perfect Hex Core. Because of course the extra movement speed that you get out of the Chaos Storm is just so much more important now.
And likewise, an early perfect Hex Core is such a potent and powerful mid-game spike for Victor.
Yeah. Well,
super cost efficient for the damage that you can get out as they're going to contest this.
Yeah, there's the Mantra Shield to come in here. Chaos Storm immediately comes out, and Jay-Z's taken so much damage from it. They're like, all right, well,
here comes the arrow.
We're not going to do that. Yeah, Ashe Arrow is going to make instant connection on the tank who cleanses it straight away. Extra movement speed from Jay-Z comes out, but that's a summoner spell for an ultimate.
Yeah, that's massive too, because there was no kill threat on the back of that arrow, so just to immediately pull the cleanse off of Azir.
Yeah. And it was just Snake being too scared, without enough vision there as well to guarantee the fact that Tank was able to tank that one up.
Shows the respect that Snake are really giving EDG there. Yeah, kind of a disappointing maneuver for them to invade so heavily and not place retreating vision.
Yeah.
So to save that cleanse by seeing that there was no follow-up kill threat. But, you know, the arrow hits you from across map. EDG, they'll dive on us, immediately cleanse.
Just shows the mindset of Snake here as well, understanding that they need to give all the respect to EDG. At the moment, about a 3,500 gold lead for EDG. That being said, Tank looking a whole lot better on this Azir this time around, despite the fact that they are behind by just a little bit. Does bode well. Snake tends to be about as strong as their mid laner. We'll see whether this is going to equate into some power moving into the team fighting phase, because they have a lot of team fighting tools.
So Snake are going to sacrifice their blue buff. Now, reminder, that means so much more on the 6.10 patch, just because it's giving you 15% scaling AP. Not so much on the likes of Azir and Victor, just because they don't build a lot of flat AP to really be magnified by that.
Capitalize on it, yep.
There's the word I'm looking for, capitalize. But both teams are actually kind of posturing to take down these outer side lane towers, but no one willing to pull the trigger.
Yeah, Deft actually maneuvering himself towards the mid lane here at the same time. We're having a look at some vision here as well. You can see lots of topside vision for Snake, whereas EDG only a couple of different ward placements.
This is a beautiful map to show where the power difference is weighted on these two teams. Snake, they have their all-star top laner Flandre. Where is all their vision? The top side of the map. EDG, it's all about Clear Love working alongside Deft and Mako, really empowering Deft to be that all-star carry for the team. Where is all their vision placed? The bottom side of the map.
It's beautiful to see. And what else is beautiful to see is a Rylai's Crystal Scepter being picked up by Tank. Almost got that outright as well. It was a very quick purchase. Nicely done, making that adaptation to his build. Mouse beginning to be able to ignore Flandre with that sap magic, as well as Grasp of the Undying. He's Deft. He's looking for an arrow. There's the Hawk shot. So giving away his position just a little bit. Things go in. Will he be able to find it? That is the question. Tank doesn't have cleanse up. Has a bit of mobility.
I mean,
he's able to soldier around.
When the map is so open like this, Ashe almost kind of becomes a pseudo Gragas in the sense that it's that one cast, it's that one arrow.
That's the one arrow right now. Chaos Storm comes in, all of the ultimates, and Tank is dead.
Didn't have his cleanse up and available.
It was all what Deft had prepared earlier, Frosker, and it's like a cooking show. Almost like magic. You know, that pie comes out of the oven. And you're like, how did that even happen?
And immediately the rotation to the bottom side. So a nice arrow followed up on the fact that Tank burned cleanse prematurely the last time means mid-tier tower as well as bot inner turret for EDG. And they are just suffocating Snake around this map. But here comes ZZR, possibly for a response.
Yeah, potential flank to come in here. Minion Wave is dealt with mostly by the culling there from Crystal. Tank still dead for another few seconds, but will find his way back into the game relatively soon. We'll see whether EDG can capitalize on this final Minion Wave opportunity that they have in a 4v5. They are going to do so. So inner turret falls in the mid lane and bottom lane, and EDG are just going to make their way out. 15 seconds on the Dragon. Can Snake get there in time to steal away a Cloud Drake of their own?
Pings are going down for EDG. I have a feeling that they're just going to split their resources. Clear Love is exceptionally strong right now that he could very easily clear this himself, but he will get team support. But even if EDG didn't want to commit on this and would rather back, reset map, and set up their vision around Baron, it's just Cloud Drake.
It also went down extraordinarily quickly. So the third dragon we are going to see in this game is going to be the Ocean Drake. EDG now with a couple of clouds, or linkers as I like to say. A Kwami there available for Snake in form of the Mountain Drake. Another arrow flies through. Tank narrowly avoids it. By narrowly, I mean there's a few widths of an Azir.
That's fine, though. Does have his cleanse available. I mean, at that point, you're really just throwing that arrow to try to burn that key summoner again.
Yeah. Or, heaven forbid, a flash. Would be very exciting. But Deft's hit rate on these arrows has been incredibly high. Does have himself a cheeky Vampiric Scepter, so not going for sort of that standard next item Infinity Edge sort of build here for Ashe.
He doesn't need it. He's not the primary source of damage here. Obviously, Ashe can put out insane late game damage, especially with that Infinity Edge.
The fact that you crit every single time is a little bit scary.
Yeah, but she's more about the utility, the control, and the pick potential in this composition.
Yeah.
I think it's more important to have the Bloodthirster available to you right now because it's going to offer you that shield, a little bit of defensive stats to the likes of Echo, who's going to be diving back on top of you.
Yeah. I actually really, really like it. And the fact that you get lifesteal from each bolt of the Renan's Hurricane as well is pretty silly.
Yeah, and it's also that you're facing across from a Nazir who's going to be a lot of sustained poke damage, and so having that available lifesteal means that you can stay in these fights longer and heal yourself back up in response.
Yeah, exactly right. Speaking of item builds, Scout has his perfect hex score now as well as the Rylai's Crystal Scepter, so he's very strong. Another Hurricane in the back pocket of Clearlove. Of course, his item of choice. Yeah, Flandre is Echo, so he's generally okay. And the arrow back off cooldown now as well. Deft, able to hunt once again.
EDG a little bit lost here. I understand what they're trying to do is play around Fog of War, but all of their vision has been set up on the Baron Pit, and Snake actually have a window of opportunity where they could move in and they could clear it all out. So EDG are prioritizing, again, getting this blue buff, denying it away from Tank, and prioritizing Scout. And luckily, they don't sacrifice any of their vision around the Baron Pit, but not as optimal from EDG as we would like to see. Again, it's these tiny little nuanced things that they need to clean up slightly. You know, what is the most important and easiest objective to take on the map for them? It's going to be that outer top tower. They went bottom looking for the flank on Flandre, couldn't find it to burn the teleport, took the blue buff because it was there, but left themselves exposed, and a better team possibly could have punished them.
So maybe a little fine-tuning of these timing windows that they do have. However, Scout having the blue buff, definitely a big deal. Denying it from Tank, another big deal. So you're exactly right. Sort of, as far as what happened in this game, wasn't capitalized on by Snake, and it was EDG continuing to get advantages.
Yeah, and EDG are still playing this beautifully. They've been in so much control. They're playing the map at a good pace, prioritizing their objectives correctly, moving Deft safely around the map, making the most out of those arrows, which have been pretty much entirely impactful. I don't think he's thrown a single bad arrow.
Volley is going to fly down here as Crystal has that Brambleback reset on him one more time, which is incredibly frustrating. Takes that frustration out on some Cinderlings.
But we have the preparation of the bottom wave being set up right now for Mouse as Deft gets it.
Somehow. Incredibly well done. So Volley auto attack is going to be enough there. So Deft even more kiting power now with the red buff as well as the frost shot. Takes himself a Rift Scuttler to celebrate. So now Crystal takes his anger out on this creep wave. Snake still in relative control of how things are going because they do, you know, still have inhibitor turrets remaining. A decent scaling comp here as well.
They have really nice defensive vision set up, and we saw them when they were contesting that red buff, you know, trying to pull it back. They understand that they're behind and they're not willing to pull the trigger, but they're still looking for left open windows to get inside this EDG house and to cause havoc, and they still have the power to do it. So that's something that's really important to understand is why are EDG playing so cautiously? Why are they playing with so much respect? It's the power of Azir is still there. Lucian now online with his build.
Yeah.
Has that tank shredding ability, so Mouse isn't going to count as much if Lucian gets the time to really pack into him.
You can see Flandre and Mouse actually just doing a bit of battle here. Twisted advance there with the % health damage helping out, as well as Flandre with a similar thing on his Parallel Convergence passive. But you can see it's actually not doing a whole lot at all, because they're just two tanks smacking each other in the head. Def now with that shield from the Bloodthirster, 3 items strong for the Ashe, showing exactly how much further ahead he is from Crystal, who hasn't completed that Zeal item. Possibly Rapid Fire Cannon, as there's the flash out of JZ. Has to respect the arrow.
But
I always feel like we're making a DC reference.
Oh.
ZZR is hunting.
He's got to be careful.
Clearlove is going to get knocked up as he face checks the Rek'Sai, but Wolfspite's going to come in and it's just taking a lot of damage. Clearlove with the passive doesn't even feel the issue from that at all.
Just shred through the Cinderhulk Rek'Sai right there. And ZZR is lucky that he wasn't caught off or collapsed by any other members of EDG, so took a risky engage, doesn't pay for it with his life, and quickly gets back in position with Void Scream, but too little too late for this tower.
Yep, and it is going to fall down, so that's 6 turrets, the whole outer ring for EDG. has been removed. And Snake, it's 2 turrets to 6. They just haven't been able to get around this map and affect anything for a very, very long time. And it seems to be as soon as Deft and Mako hit level 6, it was on. And EDG now over this wall into the Baron Pit. No vision available for Snake. They do have 1 Scrying Orb, and it is going to be used. Sun Turrets commit suicide there towards the middle of the map.
That's the other kind of buff that came into Rek'Sai, though, is that she is the control jungler, and with the nerfs to the trinket system, vision has been changed slightly, and so having that Tremor Sense passive helps out a bit in those types of scenarios. So
yeah.
Cinderhulk buffs kind of bring Rek'Sai back into the meta, but likewise, just the fact that these monster objectives are a higher priority means that control junglers are also kind of a higher priority.
Well, Cloud Drake is going to fall down. Sorry, Ocean Drake. There's Clearlove now just kiting around this Dragon Pit. Jay-Z's going to lock him up, but you can see the team fight working out all right for Snake so far. Supports are going to be traded here as Scouts found himself in a bouncy castle, drops the base, but it's not going to be enough. EDG now sitting on top of Def. Double kill comes in for Clearlove. And despite the fact that Tank was able to get work done, it's just not going to be enough here. Triple kill for Clearlove. Just padding that KDA even further.
Yeah, sitting on something ridiculous like a 15 KDA before going into this game. But the fight was split. Unfortunately, Snake were unable to commit their backline dive or long range on the true carry of EDG's comp, Deft and Clearlove.
Yeah. And Scout sacrificing his life for the greater good. You can see that Blood Razor putting into great effect as Clearlove just eliminates this Baron.
Check out that
there as
damage done to champions right there.
Who's the true carry, Froskarin?
I said Deft and Clearlove.
Clearlove just showing how strong Kindred is as well, to be perfectly honest.
So we're going to go ahead and see the replay here. Flandre dives on. He actually gets a really nice parallel convergence on multiple members of EDG, but unfortunately there's no follow-up damage. Then this is where the fight really gets split. Scout just obliterates the middle of Snake with a nice Chaos Storm, but then will fall. But Deft and Clearlove, Deft has been able to walk back into the back line of this fight, has his line of scrimmage set up in front of him, and it's too little too late for Snake at this point. All of their cooldowns have been burned, they can no longer reach this Ashe, and it's just janitorial cleanup duty.
Yeah, and actually I think Scouts could have survived there if he decided not to flash back over the wall again and had to flash towards his team. Clearlove didn't use his ultimate in that fight, didn't need to. And Scout just decided that he'd go on his own and die. So it could have been even better for EDG, but nevertheless, now able to come out ahead. Baron picked up, now sieging towards the bottom side. I like the priority of the bottom inhibitor turret as their first option here for the siege.
Baron inhib,
yeah,
as Rusty likes to call it. Arrow out.
Yeah, Clearlove and Deft doing some work here on this turret. Bloodthirster shield helping Deft stay a little bit more alive as he tanks that one up.
Still relatively difficult to siege into the likes of Lucian and Azir. So it's going to be a bit of a long haul here. See if EDG remain patient, if they're going to go ahead and pull the trigger.
Mouse is just moving from top to mid lane here, trying to keep the minion waves in order. As they are getting sort of chip damage on this inhibitor turret, but might want to turn around and try something else here. Not a whole lot of other options around the map as far as objectives that aren't turrets are concerned, which is why they're sort of maneuvering themselves around this side of the map. But Flandre is able to take care of Mouse as Chaos Storm's just going to get thrown down, trying to chunk out Jay-Z. Does so to the point where he's almost dead.
But it's not the right target. The target that they need to chunk out is tank on this Azir so they can start to really get this chip damage. Nice thing, though, is that this is a cannon creep wave, which gives EDG just enough to push it over.
Well, that was a goal from the arrow there as Def trying to heal himself back up, killing Zizia, who is able to get out there as the Lambs of Spite comes in. Everyone from EDG standing on top of it. They grab themselves a heal. Flandre is going to fall down. Tank, he's so incredibly low. There's the Hawk shot. Oh, if only it did damage. Mako, he's solo flirting with death right now, but the inhibitor's going to fall down. So well executed from EDG. And you wouldn't expect this team to have changed both of their solo laners because that whole team fight was glorious to watch.
But that was also another fantastic parallel convergence from Flandre.
Yeah.
He hit multiple members of EDG, but the issue was it was only Crystal that was able to do any sort of follow-up damage. Yes, the Lamb's Respite came out as soon as they were able to move again, and allowed EDG to kind of get back on the back end of that fight. But if Tank had the reach back there, EDG would have been smoked there.
Well, Still hope for Snake theoretically, but what you're saying is that Tank just once again not really having the will to go in.
I don't necessarily know if it's all on Tank or if it's all on Flandre, because you can make the argument that Flandre is going too deep without any follow-up, or Tank's not following up when he has the ability to.
Yeah.
So this is when it kind of gets into the dynamics of, yes, the solo laners have been traded out for EDG, but they're still doing a phenomenal job fitting into this team fight by creating zone and pressure. But either way, I mean, there are stuns that are being found on multiple members of EDG, but Snake are unable to execute on anything about it.
Well, you can see now moving Deft towards the top side of the map. EDG continuing their onslaught. It might be getting to the point where things are becoming too little too late for Snake, as Deft now has a Zeke's Harbinger available to him from Mako. So much damage. And that is actually so much consistent damage now available for an Ashe as well. Buffing him up to that 100% crit.
Dragon will be spawning in 35 seconds, so there was a small window there where EDG possibly could have looked across map from their Baron inhib. I think they were just pushing it up just to reset the lane, but possibly look for an arrow. You know, if you see Azir too far forward, might as well throw that, try to get a summoner, possibly a kill. But we should start to see the teams congregating around this bottom pit, which is why we see ZZR cheekily getting in early, clearing out some vision, setting up a trap.
Yep, making sure that he has all of that tremor sense available around this area.
He knows that he wasn't spotted getting into this brush, so...
Ooh, welcome, Elder Dragon.
He wants that Ashe.
Who doesn't? This Clearlove is going to take down the Krug camp, so he's going to find ZZR.
Again, advantage for EDG to secure this Elder Dragon.
He's hunting. He's well and truly hunting. Tagged exactly right by the Winter's Bite. Concussive blows, and Clearlove just takes down the jungler. Easy as that. And ZZR looked to have some sort of plan, but I'm still not entirely sure what it was, and it didn't work.
And no one else was around him. I mean, best case scenario, you're looking for the AD carry to walk into you, possibly eat some cooldowns, try to kill him, but then get the hell out of dodge. And this has kind of been the microcosm of Snake on a larger scale, is that the teamwork isn't quite there yet for this squad. Yeah.
Deft as well, saying, I've got enough damage. Building to what could possibly be a Guardian Angel as item number 6. It's just going to make it so difficult for Snake to do anything relevant to this Ashe, who, once he comes back up again, is going to have so much lifesteal option. And Unbreakable is going to take the whole culling there as Tank immediately uses the cleanse to get out of the arrow, but he loses a lot of his health bar. Mouse might need to tank this one up as Deft taking a lot of damage from the Sand Soldiers. He has to move out of the way, possibly just take down some Raptors to get himself his health back.
Now he's just looking for some lifesteal here. He also does have the augmented Elder Ocean Drake.
Yeah.
So he'll also get that regen available to him, but doesn't necessarily matter. Again,
that's dumb.
Having
so
the Bloodthirster available, completely full health. He also has red buff, so.
Yeah, currently 9% extra health
regen's
back.
Pretty extreme right now with Ocean Drake, red buff, and Elder Dragon.
Yeah, that's missing health for 5 seconds, I believe. So 10 seconds, something like that. Lot of regen is the point. As the second inhibitor falls down, EDG just waltz in, grab themselves another structure, and are going to move now towards the Baron, which just respawned. We were talking about EDG sort of playing with timing windows, the fact that they missed it up a little bit towards the mid-game, but otherwise, for the rest of it, it's been glorious. Now possibly grabbing a pick-off onto ZZR here. Hawkshot spies him out, but Tunnel is going to be enough to get him to safety.
EDG are playing very cleanly in their first 2 sets in the LPL. We had some issues where against Newbie, Clearlove not quite as strong as we would like to see him on securing key smites like Barons, like Dragons. Yes. Much better this time around. His KDA is nothing to scoff at.
He's definitely proving a point at this stage, and everything other than his smites was phenomenal in day number 1. As they have started off this Baron, nice ward does come down from ZZR, looking for a potential steal. Teleport coming in, Mouse looking for a flanking play with the home guard. He does get immediately slowed down as ZZR wants to find his way in, but there's the Lamb's Respite. ZZR didn't actually commit to that one as he gets over the top, but Clearlove Nails the smite this time. Scout over the wall, drops the base onto Crystal. Arrow's just going to smack him in the face, but it's Scout that grabs the kill. Flandre as well, not feeling like the tank that he wants to be. He's between a rock and a hard place most definitely after that ultimate goes off. And EDG clean up 3 kills. Mako's having a giggle about it, and they're looking to try and finish the game.
Just completely controlled. ZZR not able to get into the pit right there. Cleaned it up. Lamb's Respite came down. Clearlove was like, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice. Not going to happen this time around. Just oppressive control from EDG across the map.
We do have to admit that Swift, I think, fooled him about 7 times during that series, but you're exactly right. Nailed it that time. As the Nexus is now under fire. EDG, what a performance in game number 1 against Snake. And look, this, like, Snake, yes, looked a little bit weaker against Game Talents, but that was an EDG that looked like they had something to prove, not the EDG that dropped a game against Newbie in day number 1. This is a squad that's sort of gone back and said, all right, we need to find our smite button, nailed it. Now everything looks stunning. The Ash out of Deft as well. It looks like this guy can play whatever the heck he wants, and it looks fantastic.
And big thing for me is the fact that Mouse didn't look like a liability, and he was across from the likes of Flandre, so there was another kind of top-tier top laner in the LPL. Mouse wasn't exposed. He went to the 1v1 lane. EDG were able to control everything, just passively win their lanes, particularly through the bottom side, pick that up, start
sort of
rotating
passively
it around.
lost lanes at the beginning of the game as well. I mean, there were lots of sort of low CS scores out of EDG, but it was just that level 6 mark was hit, and then EDG say, well, we can win the game from here. It doesn't matter the fact that we have had a difficult time in the laning phase so far.
See some of the highlights on your screen right there, and it's mostly just the Deft
Watch
Clearlove
Scout.
show.
I think he could have survived after this Emperor's Divide comes in. Does do his job, taking down Jay-Z. But see, there's the flash. Feel like it was the wrong direction. But never mind.
Well, there's also the Lamb's Respite.
Yeah. Yes, it was already down.
Big thing for me is that we always talk about, China's road to redemption after their 2015 Worlds collapse. The great, strong performance from RNG at MSI was effectively step 1 in that road to redemption. EDG are on a very similar track. They dominated the LPL, I think, won back-to-back splits like 5 times in a row.
Oh, yeah.
And then lost 2 splits back-to-back. Going all the way to the finals before dropping to LGD, and then losing out to RNG for a chance at being an MSI representative back-to-back. So EDG definitely have a lot to prove. Everyone kind of looks at EDG and it's like, of course we expect them to be good. They're the kings of the LPL. They've come in as the most dominant team the LPL has ever seen. But there's been a couple of fumbles, and they need to kind of get back on track and proving themselves that, yes, we are the most dominant team that the LPL has ever seen. Yeah, that's exactly right. And they are doing it very, very well so far in game number 1 against Snake. But we do have game 2 coming up right after this very short break.